What brought you to this organization? Was it just someone called, or you just really felt the need and really felt I want to be a part of this? Like, what brought you to the organization?
It's a mixture of both. So I did get a phone call. The organization was looking for a CEO, and I got a phone call. And at the time, I was with another organization, and I was like, I'm not looking, so thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. And then, the seed was planted, right? And I started thinking about it more and more. And the organization that I was with previously, again, a two-gen organization working with both children and parents simultaneously, but it was focused on young Latinas starting in sixth grade and really working on ensuring that these young Latinas had the opportunity and all the skills and resources that they need to pursue post-secondary education. Amazing organization to this day, love it. It's a really great mission, but it starts at sixth grade,
Mm.
and there's a lot that you can do, but the research shows that, when you invest in early, early childhood,
Mhm.
that has the biggest return on investment, and you have the opportunity. It's no longer an intervention; it's a prevention program. And so they called again months later and just said, "Will you just put your application in?" So I did. And, I really thought, you know what? I'm going to make a shift. I want to make a shift to not serving the problem, but solving the problem. And if we start at birth, we have a better chance of solving it. And so I'll
Wow.
also just, personally, like if my mom had AVANCE, I feel like she probably would have been in a different spot. And,
Mhm.
you know, just the mission is just beautiful and calls to me both on a personal and professional level.
You realize it wasn't chasing paychecks; it was chasing purpose, passion,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
I love it, and I love that it kept calling back. Sometimes we say no, and then it comes back. You're like, wait a minute, why did it come back? And you really got to start to think about it. Like, there's a
Yes.
reason that this shows up to my front door again.
Yep.
But I can imagine even you getting this call. It's like, damn, I'm doing something right. Was that like a know your worth moment for you to get that call and someone's actually calling you to come be a part of the organization because they see how good you're doing on the outside?
Yeah. That was one of those like imposter syndrome moments where I was like, like why me? Like here I am just minding my own business, doing my thing. And so it is a moment of reflection, right? And I think those are those moments, like you said, you have to take when it happens more than once, you have to take stock and be like, okay, I must be
Yep.
doing something right here. And so, I also feel like again, I'm gonna go back to my network. Like relationships are matter. Relationships
I
are
agree.
so critical. And so, you know, taking care of my relationships, I think that helps because how did they get my name? They got my name from someone else, right? It wasn't the organization themselves knew me off the bat. They had contacted somebody who knew me.
Yep.
And so, yeah, but to your point about like, it keeps knocking, it keeps calling. There is, and I'm a data person, so I'm always like, give me the data, give me the data. It's like, well, how
Yep.
can I ignore this data, right? I said
I
no
love
once
it.
and it came back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You've been CEO now for years. What have you learned about leading with both heart and strategy?
That it's really hard. It is
Yes.
really, really hard to balance the two, and that it's so the most critical part. And for me, the reason that I say that I or the organization can be successful is because of the team. So
Mm.
knowing for me, it's like knowing where I'm not, knowing my weaknesses, knowing where I'm not as strong, and then building a team around that, right? To say like, okay, well, if I'm not as strong here, I'm going to build like this team's got to be really strong in that, and I'm going to trust them, right? Um, but I think being authentically me in every setting, no matter which team member I'm talking to, I'm always authentically me. I don't try to be
Yeah.
somebody I'm not. And I think that the team knows that, right? They know, and they know that my heart is in this. And no matter what decision, we have a, a guiding principles for decision making at our organization, and like everybody knows about it. We repeat it all the time, and so everybody knows that when decisions are made, when tough decisions are made, they weren't made lightly, right? They went through a process, and um, we're, being very transparent. And here's the thing, like, I have a coach. I have an executive coach. I love her. She's amazing. And she always talks about like creating a space that allows me to be me, because when I am able to be authentically me, that is when like everybody's gonna get the
Yeah.
best of me, right? And I think that is something that if I'm conscious of, not just for myself, but for others. Like I need to also create a space that everybody else can be authentically them and show up in that way, because that's the way we're going to get the best of them too. And they're going to feel valued, right? They're going to be able to bring their
Yeah.
value and feel valued. Um, but I think, again, I'll go back to I don't think I could be the leader that I am with that kind of mindset had I not had humble beginnings, had I not
Yeah.
had struggles and had to, if I had been someone who kind of inherited success, I don't think that I would show up the way that I do
I
today.
want to tap into that executive leadership coach. Like so many people need it, and like me being in the coaching space, I see so many people that need it, and they would always give you that. Well, I don't have any money, but you see them spending money on different places, or I don't see the value, right? I don't see the ROI in a coach. What is your process to those that have that kind of stigma on coaching itself?
So here's the thing about coaching that I think those answers, I'm gonna be real honest. I think those answers are excuses. I think
Yeah.
that deep down underneath the iceberg on that one is fear. If
Mm.
I get a coach, that means I'm not good enough or I'm not doing a good job, right? Or if I get a coach, that means I'm going to have to question and like do some self reflection. And, I think that it's more about the fear of people thinking that they don't have it all together. And for me, I've always said, anybody on our team that wants a coach, I'm like, yes, let's get you a coach. They're a thought partner. They are an
Yeah.
unbiased mirror and a wall to bounce the ball off of, and it is so valuable. And if you're authentic and you come in and you're like, hey, you know what, maybe I want to test this out, right? Like, so my coach, she did this EQI exam, test, and
Hmm.
came back with some stuff. And I just we were working on reality testing, all sorts of really really great things. And nobody, it wasn't like my board said, hey, you need an executive coach, or like your performance is low here, you need. No, for me, I was like, look, I'm about to go through a big transition. I just had a baby. Our organization, we just did a unification process, like a re-centralization process. We're growing rapidly, lots of changes coming, which I know is going to require change for me. And I want to make sure that I show up as the best
Yeah.
leader that I can show up at this time. And that means I need to have somebody to walk alongside me in that process and that journey. Somebody who has outside perspective, who has maybe worked with many different people, who has read all the leadership books, right? Like someone else who has a different perspective that can help reality test for me, right? Can
Yeah.
help guide me as I'm walking through this journey. So I'm a huge, huge fan. Coaching is so critical no matter what stage you're in.
Yeah.
And for those who have a little hesitation for whatever reason that they say, because you can find the money, you can, that's a moment of self-reflection. Like, is it really that I don't have money, or am I just a little bit afraid of what this means, right? What this means for
Hmm.
me, or what it's going to look like to others.